Hey yo, it's your boy, Joey Zander here. What's going on, guys? I'm here to help you guys out with a little bit of production tips for Hump Day promos. Some of you guys may not have been sending your promos because you just have earphones and audio bud mic or whatever, and you're like, it's gonna sound like crap and I don't want to do it. Well, I would strongly encourage you to send it anyway because Taz and the crew are really more interested in the content than they are in the actual production value. But hey, if you want a little bit of advice, I can help you out with some of the stuff I've learned over the last 12 years of making my own music and basically bashing my head against the keyboard. So there are two things we're going to go over today. Post-production, and then how to use your iPad for one-and-done live stuff, which is the easier way to do it. We're going to start with the post-production because I know more about that, and quite frankly, if I start off with the easy thing, you won't play the rest of the video. So to hell with you, we're starting with the hard stuff first, and we'll go from there. All right?
So this is method one as far as this goes. So what this is going to be is post-production. This is just the two effects you need to focus on in post-production to just make it a little nicer. There's a lot of free software out there that'll do this stuff. Audacity is a major one that people like to use. I hate Audacity. I paid for Audition. I like Adobe software. So basically, here we go. Test show. So what we'll do is I'll show you what this is all about. So as you can see, you have some elements from some former promos that I've done. Here's the one I did this week. This is just some sound effects from week 1 and week 2 that I put in. Well, I guess the first 2 I did. So the first thing we need to do is we need to have a WAV file. So you either import your promo from whatever you recorded it on, or you can record it straight up in here. I don't want that to be that way. So I'm just going to really quickly record something here. Where's my bopper dinger here? So, la 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 really loud, and then really quiet, and then basic talking. All right, so I have a waveform here. So it's got different volumes, it's got screaming, it's got all different kinds of stuff. So the big problem is the difference between this waveform and this waveform is the different peaks and valleys. There's way too many discrepancies in this one. So when I go and I look to edit this, we've got this little muff of sound in the beginning. There's tiny little sounds here, and then as you can see, the peaks and valleys are all over the place, and this clipped. So clipping is when you don't get that nice round piece of sound. It went way the hell off. So obviously this is going to sound garbagey. So it'll have that hissing and crackling, and the volume levels won't be the same. So if I'm playing music underneath, sometimes you'll hear me, sometimes you won't. It's a pain in the butt. And if you want your production to be a little better, then we can mess with that. So the first thing we need to do is get rid of all the wave sounds in front of or behind our clip. So this is not something we need. So I just take the decibels all the way down. Now it's nice and flat. There's no noise and crackles in the background. You could do that throughout your entire promo and just find all the spaces. However, that's time consuming. If you just want to make it sound a little better and just keep everything you had, the easiest thing to do is compress the wave format. So what that's going to do is it's going to take all your sound and make the amplitudes much closer together. Amplitude is the distance from the starting line to the edge. So this is an amplitude, very high wavelength, and this is a very small amplitude, small wavelength. So what we're going to do is we're going to highlight the whole thing, and we're going to use a compressor. A compressor is what most people use to do this. So I go into amplitude and compression, and there's all different kinds. Multi-band, which is probably the most dynamic. Normalizing, there's single band, which is a little more simpler. Tube modeled, which if it says tube modeled, it's not tube-ish anyway, but we're not going to get into the difference between solid state and tube right now. Basically, there's a built-in one in Audition that'll make your life a lot easier. So if you don't want to customize all these and go through and lose your marbles like people who do production do, just hit Speech Volume Leveler. Speech Volume Leveler has previous settings in it, medium, soft, strong. I recommend going soft. I have a custom one set in here, which works kind of well for Hump Day promo levels. So I amplify, or I apply these to my amplitudes, and now you can see all the different wavelengths are much closer together. So the highs and the lows between the smallest waves I have and the biggest waves I have are not so bad. The downside is all the noise and crap you didn't want will blow up as well, so you'll have to go in and wipe that out, which you can do. You see little bits in here and things like that. We can pain in my ass. If we really stretch it out, we can see all the little doodads, little noises, things we don't want. We just get out of there. So, like I said, you can go through and do that with the whole file, but it's more of a pain. So there are other ways I would get rid of that, but it's more complicated. So now that everything's a little more level, it'll sound a little more professional. The last thing you need to worry about, like those little things I was taking out, if that's usually just hissing sounds from the microphone, well, great, we can solve that too. Re-highlight everything. Come on. There it is. Back to effects. We're going to go down to noise reduction and restoration. So all the different stuff going on in here. De-hummers. We have an amplitude. We had de-essers before. Noise reduction is the best. You can actually capture a section of just dead air with just the noisy crap in it, and then it searches the whole file and pulls that out without losing too much of the character of what you recorded. But again, you want to keep it simple. Hiss reduction. Go into hiss reduction. Just keep it light. Apply. And all of a sudden, all the spaces in between, they get a little bit smaller. It takes out that hiss, and now you have a fairly decently leveled off sound. So I go back to my multi-track. I've got, we don't need that. Now I've got my little promo piece. Now if I want to layer something underneath it, a sound effect I downloaded, just anything. No! Something like that. Just throw it in sound effects, a table breaking, whatever. Nadir, you son of a bitch. He totally blew me away last week. That guy's awesome. So you just drop it in a new file, and then you control the different volumes of each file and allow you to mix your file sounds the way you want. You can pan some left. You can pan some right. That's what this is. This will go to the left headphone. If I go this way, it's in my left headphone. If I go that way, it's my right headphone. So, all that is fairly... Hello, that's 0. We can get that all different things, little doodads here, which help with mixing. It's very useful when you're doing music. With dialogue, it's also very helpful. I am not a producer, but like I said, I've been doing my own music for so long. It's just used to it. So when I have this the way I want, I'll go to multi-track, I'm going to mix down the whole session, or I'll bounce it to a new track, and then this will allow me, using selected clips or entire clips, to get my promo. Then I'll simply save it as an MP3, so that's emailable, and I'll shoot it over to Taz, hpmtaz@cbs.com, or whatever the hell the thing is, .net, .com, whatever they do. And then that way, I'll submit my promo. So that is how you post-produce a promo. Now, this is not the easiest way to do it, but it is the best way to do it. However, my first promo and my second promo were actually done completely live on the road with just my iPad. So I will show you how I did that with no post-production with just one app. That's right. I only used one friggin' app. So I will now shut this down, and we'll cut it over, and I'll talk to you a little bit more about BossJock.
All right, Tasmaniacs. So part 2 here is how to just do this on an iPad. You will need to buy some stuff to do this. If you have an iPhone or an iPad, this will work. On a Droid, I don't know. I don't use my Droid for stuff. I use it for phone calls and texting. Phone calls is that thing where you talk like the words you would read on text. I know nobody does that anymore. But anyway, the first thing you'll need is iRig, okay? iRig is what allows you to plug a microphone and a headphone in here at the same time. If you don't want to use this, you cannot use a professional grade microphone. You will end up having to use some type of headset that has a built-in microphone, and then you're just simply stuck with that sound quality initially. As I mentioned before, the best thing you can do is set yourself up with a good microphone. If you don't have that, then that's just tough noogies, and you just have to use what you got. So once you do that, I recommend you buy a program called BossJock, okay? So BossJock is not free, but it works really great. And what you do is with BossJock, this is essentially a podcast software. It comes with individual cells. Each cell is programmable. So for example, this cell is a ding sound. All right, this is my Frank Langella Neil. This is Stone Cold's what? All right. So if I punch up the cell's settings, shows me the wave sound what I took. This entire thing is Stone Cold's audio track that I uploaded into my files, punched it into that cell, and then I can just take the little segment that I want. So if you're cutting a promo, this is convenient because you can upload your background music, you can upload your sound effects, you can put everything into cells and just simply program it while you're cutting your promo. It also has ducking. If you look in here and you see the duck, ducking is, well, actually, I'll just show you. Get this out of here. I don't need this anymore. Get out of here. So ducking is the volume of this sound. Let's do a little Santino Marella. You can see the levels here and how high they are. Once I turn this microphone on, and now this is on, you see the levels, they drop. So basically, I can scroll through my settings, mic settings, cart, which is the cells, and the total mix. So I can control what things sound like
based on whether or not I've activated my microphone. This will make sure that you don't get drowned out with your sound effects. So ducking is a convenient thing to have. Also, if you ever watch a podcast or whatever, this is my intro to my podcast. And then when I cut the mic in, you see the levels drop immediately. The reason I do that is because you ever notice how it drowns out, and then you come in, hey everybody, this is Joey Zander doing my thing on my podcast or whatever, and then you simply just fade it out, and you keep talking, and it is what it is. So Boss Jock will allow you to program all your little settings. You simply turn the mic on. You can tap the mic and use it sparingly, or you can full-on activate it. You can record. You can also pause and things like that, but you start recording, you do your thing, you hit the appropriate sound effects, like, and then I had an idea. Oh, what a brilliant idea that was. And the next thing I knew, I saw Arnold Schwarzenegger. You know, and that's how you can cut a promo with this thing. So you want to do the crowd cheering in the background, like, oh yeah, let me tell you something. That's what the Macho Man understands right now. I feel that. You know, you can have all these different things going on. And this will allow you to cut a live promo. You get it, you record it, you export it. So when you're finished, it'll punch in here in the side. You can see all my Riddick sounds in here. I was doing something for a Riddick trailer. And then you just pop it out. This is how I record stuff on the fly for all my little pet projects with my friends and stuff like that. I don't get paid to do this stuff. I should, because it freaking eats up all my time. But mostly just fun fan projects. And this is one thing that I used to cut my first 2 promos. I programmed this right now set up for my podcast, but I programmed all these settings with the music, the Joey Zander music, the chirping sound effects, all the different things that I used for basically that promo, and then I just started activating them while I was cutting my promo. And it was a lot of fun. Of course, I used my software to do the music early, but you can use found stuff and just kind of do what you got to do. So, yeah.
Alright guys, so we covered post-production with something like Adobe Audition, any kind of DAW. We covered a little bit of how to do it live on an iPad with a program like Boss Jock, also really good for podcasting. I recommend it highly, I used it myself. And basically, the most things you need to remember are you want to level out your waves, or basically you want to compress them, so some type of compressor, and you absolutely want to have hiss removal. That will get rid of all the gobbledygook. If you can focus on those 2 things, you're pretty good. And if you're doing a live recording, remember, you want to be able to pre-mix that stuff, so you need something that has ducking. Ducking is what they mean when they duck something underneath the main audio sound or your microphone. So if you have ducking for the live stuff, or in post-production you have compression and hiss removal, you're probably going to be pretty good. But to be honest with you, the most important thing is your content. If your content sucks, it don't matter how nice it's polished. A piece of shit is still a polished piece of shit. And something that's stellar, even if it's crappy, hell man, black metal's been doing that for years. So it's all good, man. Just send in whatever you want. The most important thing is don't be afraid to send it to Taz and the guys. You might make the air. He might rip you a new one. But hey, we're all participating. We're all doing it because we love the show. And the bigger we grow the Tazmaniacs crew, the more we can get from Taz. Maybe we get some damn merchandise, all right? That'd be awesome. So if you need anything at all, hit up DST Dirty South, hit up Fishman, hit up myself. Everybody is willing to help. Just ask. Okay? Hit us up on Twitter if you need to. You can hit me up at XXXGothmanXXX, or just search Joey Zander, your boy.